Hello and welcome to Chance Encounters, everybody, and welcome again to the very first episode of our new campaign, First City.
Woo!
My name is Ian Frost. I'm going to be running this madness. I'm here.
Oh crap.
Introduce yourself. Yeah.
It's me, Warden Asteria. Hello.
It's me, Eric Schwan. Hello.
Hello, I'm Natasha.
Yeah. So these are some of my very favorite people on the planet. We're just a bunch of best friends and such who had this wacky idea to do a thing, and here we are doing it. This is first and foremost a young adult sort of superhero kind of a deal. It is a setting and a system of my own design, and I just want to put forward before we start, we are very much playtesting this in a big way. We're all still very much working on it together, and as we go along, we're going to see what works, what doesn't. Your feedback will be very helpful, like during that entire process. But bear with us because we're still kind of figuring out this new system. There's a little bit of like D&D flair in it, but not a lot of other direct influences that I can cite. I want to leave as much leeway for sort of collaborative world building and I don't know, what else would you call it? Like collaborative world building and just not as number crunchy, right? Yeah, just very much like
loosey-goosey, free-flowy.
Yeah, because
what are dice?
Yeah.
We use them, but do we?
Yeah, and it is a D6 dice pool system. We also use D12s for superpowers, and we'll explain, you'll see how that stuff goes kind of as we get into it. Is there anything else that you guys would like to mention or bring up before we start? Or are we good to just like go into the nitty gritty of the city?
Let's just do it. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric.
Sorry.
Okay. In the not too distant future. Our ancestors built the first city as a beacon of peace on Earth. And it almost was. Until one night, an unseen force plucked it from the very face of the Earth and placed it under unfamiliar stars. It was a bountiful world with no sign of civilization. A world we named Paragon. With no way to return home, we adapted. New governments were built from the seeds of our past, and with them grew new ways of life. But the vices of old still festered. Organized crime bled out from the shadows and took root, preying on the foundation of our new home. But this world had one more surprise in store. A mysterious element in the atmosphere that gave a fraction of the population superhuman abilities. Under the leadership of the city's first hero, the Age of Legends had begun. 300 years later, Paragon thrives under the protection of its champions. And yet, the shadows of the past still linger. When darkness rises, it will fall to the next generation of young heroes to defend the first city. We find ourselves and our story beginning at the Moonlight Academy, a university of sorts for up-and-coming superheroes in training. A school that is largely run by the Nexus of Valiance, a superhero group that sort of carries on through the generations with different members, comprised of some of the most prominent heroes of our time, of our age. Built here in the first city, more or less out of government control, able to bring up heroes in their own way to learn to do right and protect this new land that we've been in for roughly 300 or so years now. As we fade in to the Moonlight Academy, we find ourselves at the end of the spring semester. It's sort of a breezy, warm morning as you see these towering buildings all around you with occasional sort of carved out hangars in the upper levels of the buildings where tram links come from other areas of the city and feed into the actual buildings themselves for students who kind of ride that tram into school. As you all make your way through campus, individually, I imagine, not together at the moment, you find yourselves musing on the journey thus far. You've all come to Moonlight Academy for your own reasons and lived very different lives. Now, when you join the Moonlight Academy, you have the option to participate in the Champion program, the program where you will be assigned to a hero, a squad leader, and put on a squad with other students with abilities that complement your own. And from that point forward, you'll be trained as a hero. But for the last semester, each of you have elected to go under evaluation for this program. About 2 weeks ago, the three of you were put on a team together just for the sake of a test. A small combat test with another group of students as well. You didn't really know each other prior to that, but that's really the only contact that you guys have had up until that moment. And as you went through this sort of combat trial together in the woods, in the training facility that's set up in the woods outside of campus, you sort of settled into the end of the semester during the deliberation period, just sort of hanging around waiting to hear the results. And now, on the heels of that waiting period, that wait is finally over, and each of you have been informed that you have been selected to participate in the Champion program, to be trained as up-and-coming superheroes. As you all make your way across campus, you're musing on the idea of what this means. Each of you is on your way to the auditorium, which on campus, actually, a lot of people refer to it as the coliseum. And as you get closer, you start to see why. It is a sprawling, massive football field of a thing. And as you see on the outside edges are these huge golden statues of some of the greatest heroes who have lived that are sort of holding up the place. The doors are wide open, and at the moment, there is sort of an enclosed dome over top of the entire Coliseum, making it look more like an auditorium. As you make your way under the archway, you look up and you see this huge statue, the most prominent one out front, with a plaque that reads, "The Moon Rider." You see the image of a man with a long trench coat, goggles, kind of like a curly, faded sort of hairstyle. You see that he has some sort of like tech-based firearms that are not really guns, but something else. And if you know your history of superheroes, well, I mean, it's not even a matter of knowing your history of superheroes. This man is a household name. The Moon Rider was the first superhero who was actually fighting organized crime before the first city was transported to this new world. And when this new generation of people were affected and started developing powers, the Moon Rider, who had no powers of his own, he was just a man taking up arms to do what he thought was right, he was the only person around who could really train these people. And the first iteration of this school was run by him. The ceremony of being placed onto a squad, being told who your mentor and who your team is going to be, is to be held exactly at 10 a.m. When does the first of you arrive, and which of you arrives first?
I would say I'm probably first.
Okay.
Do you want me
So-
to go into a description?
Yeah, I would say as you approach, just describe what Bang Bang looks like and what you're doing, sort of how you're approaching this situation.
Well, Bang Bang was raised with the philosophy, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're kicked off whatever squad you're on.
Mhm.
So she's there at least 20 minutes before. No, let's say 30 minutes before.
Even
but
30
so she-
minutes before, you find a lot of people are gathering outside, just waiting for the doors to open to be let in. A lot of other students. Occasionally, you'll see like powers being used. You see one student who has these big sort of butterfly wings made of energy, talking to another group of students who are sort of like seated in midair, sort of talking to each other. You see a couple other students like throwing like sort of globs of plasma at each other and catching them.
Nice.
You see
Okay.
quite a wide array of people who have been selected, and so you arrive early
yeah.
and see this.
I see all that. I kind of just ignore it. So for the audience's edification,
Mhm.
Bang Bang's real name is Bailey, but we call her BB. So BB is just hanging out. She is 5'10", has kind of dark brown but slightly reddish hair. It's kind of like how my hair is under a certain light. Asteria, what would you describe her haircut like?
It's like a half shave on
Mhm.
one, and then like it's like a slightly longer pixie cut. Like it's between pixie cut and a bob, and then it's like half shaved on one side, so it's like pixie over.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know hair words, so that is a wonderful description.
Yeah.
So I think I already said 5'10", is wearing, she definitely has a cowboy aesthetic when you look at her. She has a black, probably faux leather jacket on with the little dangly arm things on the sleeves, a red flannel shirt that has kind of black stripes along it, very thin black stripes. And then blue jeans, dark wash blue jeans with some leather chaps over it, I believe. Faux leather probably. And then boots that are black and white with white star spurs on the back. And so she just goes over to a column of one of the heroes and is standing there with a little pocket knife, and she's kind of cleaning her nails, just kind of sitting there, not looking at anyone, not really paying attention, but you can tell she's pretty aware of what's going on around her. Looks like she's not
The
paying
cool
attention, at
kid
least.
thing.
The
Looks
very
like
much
not
the
paying
cool kid
attention,
thing.
but is
Yeah.
secretly just like.
Mhm.
Okay. As you are waiting, you're kind of, leaning, you're watching, you're keeping stock of what's going on around you, but you notice there's a student who's just sort of walking, sort of pacing with earphones in, just listening. He looks to be about maybe 20, maybe 21. He has sort of a mop of like jet black curly hair, wearing very simple clothing, maybe just like a black V-neck and dark jeans, like functional sort of almost cargo pants like, and he's got a shoulder bag on. And as he walks by you, he actually looks like he's about to bump into you. And just as he's about to, you see his ears kind of prick up, and he looks up. He sees you out of the corner of your eye in like a fraction of a second, and he just like rolls his shoulder over very quickly and spins to catch himself and like stops his momentum. And he just sort of looks up at you.
If you watch where you're going, you wouldn't have to do ballet like that to get around.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I don't know. I'm not too worried, I guess. Everybody's bustling. But it is what it is, right?
Sure. What's your name?
They call me Helix.
Why do they call you Helix?
Uh, well, I think it started as a joke, honestly. My power is, my power is not really having a power.
That is very, very, very vague.
Oh, well, I can make it more specific. I just punch things. Punch things, kick things, avoid things. They tell me I'm all right at it, so I'm here anyway.
Sounds like we are in relatively similar camps. I'm BB. She holds out her hand.
Good to meet you. And
She shakes his hand like a little bit too aggressively. Like it's a power play for sure.
Oh, BB.
yeah, and he shakes your hand, and his eyes flicker to your belt buckle. You're wearing the buckle, right?
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that. BB has a belt buckle that says BB, but the B's are facing away from one another.
His eyes kind of flicker to that for a moment, and then back up to you, and he goes, That's clever. I like it.
Cool. Thanks.
BB's such a dick.
Yeah, it's wish I could say I made it myself, but had a little bit of help.
Yeah, don't we all, I guess. Hey, I won't keep you. I've still got some stuff to prepare. Good luck in there.
You as well.
As he kind of walks past you, he keeps going. You notice a few other students sort of get out of his way, and they watch him pass, and you see a couple of people are like whispering to each other. You see like not really like giggles or anything like that, just people being like very obviously interested in what his deal is. It seems like this is someone that sort of has a rep here. And as you think back to the name Helix, and you think about the sort of display of reflexes that he just showed, be it ever so small, you realize that this guy is one of the only people without powers that you can really remember hearing about during this period of evaluation for the program. And you haven't had the opportunity to see him fight, but you've heard a lot of very overblown stories about things this guy can do. There's a lot of eyes on him from a lot of different places.
Baby definitely just kind of like files that away and keeps going about cleaning her nails.
Who is the next to arrive?
I probably get there 10 minutes before, because you're supposed to already be prepared in my team, and the 5 to 10 minutes before setting out is like just for a quick debrief, so probably 10 minutes.
Okay.
That totally works, because I would think I think my character would get there like maybe a minute before.
Oh no.
But mostly on time.
Yeah. So I get there next. Selena D. She is about to be known as Hairomone. She is 5'9", beautiful brown skin, curly waterfall of black hair that is currently not like sort of pulled back a little bit by her usual head wrap or headband. It's just sort of like falling, kind of around her face like mine is. God, I didn't think about how to describe what she's wearing, because she's wearing a lot. She's wearing her undermost layer is like slate blue a color, like a slate blue,
Like cobalt blue, sort of?
No, it's more gray.
Oh, blue. Okay.
Yeah, a blue with gray undertones, if you will. It's sort of like it looks like a tube top, because over it is a forest green sort of wrapped tunic thing that goes down to probably around her mid-calf or so. And covering those two is a bunch of real leather. She has a wrap that sort of holds everything in place, and then over that is a bunch of leather belts with pouches and leather secured leather bags with pouches, lots of pouches going on. She has a tabard of that same blue, except this time it's a little more shimmery. And she's also holding a double-ended spear or staff that looks like it has an iron handle, an iron grip, but the ends are also that sort of shimmery slate blue metallic material. She has like amber eyes, similar makeup of just like some eyeliner and this sort of like burgundy deep magenta lip, and she's jacked as hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I get there, I'm just sort of chilling, I guess.
Could you
Just-
spell her name really quick?
Her real name or her hero name?
Real name.
Her real name, Selena Ondi, is Selena space Ondee.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
So as you walk up to this huge crowd of students and you see these, different displays of powers as people are just sort of waiting and killing time, there's this air of excitement. But there are no like parents or guests or anything, no onlookers. They're just about 10 minutes before I think everybody is here. You see between 50 and 60 students. What are you sort of outwardly putting out there, standing under these huge statues of legends that are up around you?
Oh, I should also mention that she's around 22, 23. She's probably just looking because this is not her element. So she's looking and studying to see, who was considered heroic enough to be one of these columns, and if she's kind of looking to discern why, just based on the visage that she sees in stone, of each column.
Interesting. Okay. Looking at these people, there's really no unifying theme. They're all positioned with poise. They're all kind of holding up the building, which is sort of the idea. But as you're looking around, and with your specific background too, I think not being necessarily as familiar with them as everyone else here might be, you see like sort of different colorful, there are no colors because everyone is just in gold, here. But the outfits themselves vary from being tech-based. You see maybe somebody in a mech suit at one point to people who look like they might not have even have had powers, if you can tell that sort of thing. You see, very obvious classic styles with big capes, and you see as they circled the building that sort of that classic vibe of the like, the superhero figure with the cape and the boots and stuff. Like, they're not all like that, and it's a big variation, and it's hard to really glean any unifying factors other than just the confidence that's being displayed by the architecture.
Right.
And as you're doing this, you're taking stock of this, you hear as the doors swing open. You see the pair of employees, the sort of campus security employees that work here in their blue and gold uniforms with their little, almost like, the hats that the Empire wears, the little officer hats.
Yeah.
They look kind of like that. They're like blue and black with gold. And as the doors open, everyone starts sort of forming this big, not quite single file, because they're huge double doors. And you see other doors around are starting to open too, so that people can come in, in different places and start getting directed inside. You try to kind of fit yourself into the flow of traffic. And as you do, you hear, like right in your ear, "Hey, Hairomone! Hairomone, wait up! Hey, wait! I don't think she. Can you louder? Oh, you're already doing it. Oh, okay. Hairomone." And then you hold on, and then you just hear this puff of smoke, and then appearing in front of you, out of thin air, is a familiar face. A tall, gangly student, dark skin, kind of tall, squarish, curly hair, kind of like it's kind of shaved on the sides and goes up.
That high top thing.
Yeah, and he's wearing this like little backpack that he's holding by the straps with his thumbs. He's got big square glasses on. He's got earrings in both ears, and as he comes up to you, he's, "Hey, this is Porter." Porter is someone that this particular group had worked with before during the aforementioned combat test, where you guys were put together seemingly randomly. You're not really privy to why you were placed for that final test that way, but you had like sort of an ordeal together. So you've like hung out once, and it's up to you if you guys have like continued. We talked about this a little bit. If you guys continued to hang out after that.
Yeah, they're friends.
Yeah.
They vibe.
So he kind of appears in front of you and he goes, "Admiring the architecture."
Yeah, it's big and tall.
Yeah, it's amazing how superheroes look even more super when you make them 20 feet tall.
Yeah, I assume the others are just behind. Just looks back.
You hear in your ear, as though someone were right next to you, "Assuming makes an ass out of, well, not me." And then stepping up are two figures, the other two figures, close friends of Porter that you worked with on that same mission. You see a young lady who is, Porter is like 25. He looks a little bit older than the other two. A young woman of maybe 22, 23 with a beanie on with a music note on the front patch, with long, straight, kind of ombre black to blonde hair that comes out. Actually, maybe it's like more, maybe like dark blonde to green hair that comes out. I like that better, actually. And she's wearing this oversized, baggy sweater with these random like tie-dye sort of splotches on it that's cut off at the arms, with then these long stripy sleeves that go all the way to her knuckles. She's got big sort of Beats headphones on, that she wears. Kind of high top shoes, holes in her jeans. And this is Echo, who, has the ability to manipulate sound waves, hence being able to speak right in your ear from a distance. She catches up to you guys,
annoying.
And standing next to her is a much shorter, very well-dressed figure. Super pale skin, long, very neatly combed, dark hair. They're wearing this like very nice blazer with suede elbow patches, with a big bow tie over a vest. This is a figure that's, if you didn't know any better, you would really have trouble placing them in most every way. They're pretty short and have a very youthful complexion, but their eyes are just so focused and hawk-like and wise that it's like you have no idea how to age or gender this person if you had a mind to do either of those things. But you do know personally that Link is quite a bit younger, is about 16, and is here under the supervision of Porter, and has some other interesting abilities that you've seen firsthand that we might get into later. The two of them approach, and Link looks up at you and goes, "How do you do, Hairomone?"
Great. Yeah. Love love the acoustics, Echo, as always.
She just goes and sort of kind of keeps pace with you guys. So, who's everyone hoping to get?
I mean,
You know you're all thinking it.
all I know is I could tell that Tonatrus was pointing attention my way.
Somebody thinks highly of themselves.
Not really.
Okay.
It's just, when you pay attention to things, you see things. Speaking of,
Throwing shade. Holy shit.
as oxymoronic as it sounds, have we seen the invisible one?
As you're looking around, you do notice it's taking a minute to kind of get through the crowd. People are being funneled in. You realize, as you can sort of slightly see inside, people are being shepherded to specific like seating. People are being told where to sit in the coliseum, and it's halting things a little bit. So you have an opportunity to look around, and you do see. Well, I don't know. Do you? Where are you? It is about a minute before. Everyone is starting to be let in. What are you doing?
Everyone's funneling in, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming it's like when you're in high school and you're like funneling into a gym.
It's exactly like that, but
okay,
bigger.
Great.
Yeah.
I would think that okay, so can I say her name and stuff? Or
yes.
Okay.
Name, physical description, and like what you're doing right now.
Okay, great. My character's name is Joanna or Jo Epnuk, but her hero name is Silhouette. And I'd imagine as she's been like running to get here. She's a little sweaty. So she's running up, and I would assume like right before she's entering the doors and she's getting to these like this crowd of people, she turns visible. So she's invisible before, and she's now presenting herself, and she kind of like appears from like the bottom up, and she's wearing like kind of just like baggy cargo pants with like lots of pockets on the sides, and I think like a baggy black shirt, no graphics or anything, just like big, like more wide than like long. And she's about 5'6". She's got like straight hair, probably around the same length as mine, but her hair kind of like she has like these strands that kind of like fall in front of her face. Yeah, she's got like little scratches, like you can tell she's like she's been fallen, or I don't know, something. She's got a little like a little
She took a
scab.
tumble.
She took a tumble, yeah. And okay, so she's like trying to like walk in with everyone, and she's just like kind of in awe of everything. Like these are where all the statues you said are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of like looking at everything, and I would think that she's trying to find someone she knows, but
if you're coming in near the back of the group, then BB is also near the back of the group.
I like that. BB is the first person that you see.
I didn't say this before, but I should mention BB looks about 18 or 19, but she's tall and she's pretty buff.
Yeah. I'd say Jo is kind of slender. I think she's also like in her early 20s. And she's like looking around at all these people. She's very in awe of people's powers.
Mm-hmm.
I think like she'd look at someone if they were like floating and be like, "Oh my god, can you teach me how to do that?" and then just like makes her way through. I'd also think that as soon as she saw like Moonrider, she'd just be like it would be like a surreal feeling, just like being so enamored by like this like such a great household like superhero, right? And then I guess she'd see BB and she'd be like, BB.
Oh, howdy, it's a little no-see girl.
I
can't see you sometimes.
Gotta do my thing sometime. A lot of people here.
Yeah, there's a lot of superheroes, I guess.
They're so talented.
Sure. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I just had to run over here. My alarm clock didn't go off. Do you know where the rest of the group is? Is the rest of the group with us?
They're a little ways ahead, but if you're looking for them, you can see them quite a bit up. And as you see, you make eye contact with Echo, who sees you, and she just sort of like goes up to scratch her nose, and you hear in your ear, you know, if you don't want to be depressed by the angry cowgirl,
Damn.
you can come sit with us.
Oh, girl.
Shots fired.
I just kind of like, I just look at her from afar and I'm like,
Can I hear that? Or is it so
No.
okay? It's so
It's
localized
in
to
her ear.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Echo.
I just kind of shrug my shoulders and I'm like, and I stay with BB.
Oh, good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I should also say that at any given point, Hairomone smells fantastic.
Hmm.
They always have pronouns are she and they. They're she her. So I'll be flipping back and forth. Just good floral fragrant smell. Sometimes sandalwood ish,
Ooh,
or
yeah.
tobacco, like the
Ooh,
more
yeah.
masculine sense, but usually a really nice floral fragrance. Yeah, coming off of
Like that.
her.
Beautiful. I imagine we just continue walking in.
Okay. Back up to the front where you guys are. You see Porter kind of turns back and he looks at Echo and he's like, I know you just said something mean. Why do you always have to be mean? She's like, you have no evidence. You don't know what you're talking about. And he just kind of rolls his eyes and he's like, we should probably. I mean, you don't have to. We should. And he just sort of appears next to you. He goes, hey guys.
Next to us?
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta be careful when you do that around me. You made me pretty sick last time.
Oh, does it make you sick even if I just do it next to you? I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I guess I'll just get used to it.
So,
Good.
Who are you guys hoping to be paired up with, and who are you hoping to lead your squad?
I mean, I'd like to stay with my friends, but honestly, I mean, this is the third time I've applied to the program, and this is my first time making it. Link and I are going to be staying together, I'm sure. I mean, that's kind of how this works. But, I mean, I had time to get, I don't know. I don't really hope anymore, I mean, that sounds wrong. That's not what I mean. Not in a depressing way. I just mean I'd be happy with anybody, I'm just happy to be here.
I get it. It makes sense. Although I will say I'm hoping for Tonatress.
Tonatress.
Mm-hmm.
That makes two of you, I guess. Wow.
Who else?
He looks back at you. If you're still where you were, right?
Yeah, but I think just stopped in place.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you guys do
wait.
kind of catch up. A couple people get annoyed trying to go around you, but it's fine.
What about it?
So
Look around.
You're hoping for Tonatress as well?
I mean, hoping is a strong word. I'd be happy with anyone, really. I just, could see he was paying attention to us.
Yeah, well, I've got my money basically down on Tonatress, so I guess we'll see.
I guess we will. This is it's exciting. And he just kind of brusquely walks ahead. Briskly. briskly walks ahead.
Mhm.
Brusquely is a different word.
No,
Um,
not the right one.
and Link just sort of like watches you guys like they know exactly what you're thinking. You can't disprove that they don't, though you don't know that that's their power necessarily.
How's it going, weird emotion child?
See, this is why nobody likes you.
It's fine. She's not wrong. She's just blunt and emotionally honest, which is refreshing in this environment. Honestly, not bad. I'm gonna probably catch up with Porter, which is hard to do. I don't know if you noticed, but
Is it
that man
because
can
he
move.
Teleport. Move fast, teleport fast.
Well, yeah. And personally, I'd like to avoid demerits for trying to duck my supervisor. So if you'll excuse me, you're welcome to sit with us, if you please. I know no one was going to ask, but Echo just sort of looks back and goes, whatever. And just goes. And you all make your way inside. Inside, it is this like waft of cool, sort of circulated, air-conditioned air. The walls are painted to be like various elements and sort of showers of sparks and different colors playing off of each other that are even like kind of reflecting the light from the open doors inside. It's almost like a concert venue, the way that the seats just sort of stretch up and outward all around. And inside is this huge, I can only describe it as like a football field. It's very like short green grasses. And you know that sports are held here sometimes. It's not uncommon for like a football game to be played here. But you know also, your keen eyes, you can see some like sort of indents of like lines in the ground. And you know that this is also sometimes used as a training facility and a contest facility. And there are things underground that can like lift up, you know, and you know, so there is a lot of like stuff going down and coming back up. And you do see that there are some very notable like missing platforms. There are holes in that ground at the moment. You see various security members are positioned around. They're shepherding you up to your seats, but there are no heroes in this room yet. And as you look up, you see these huge Jumbotron-like TV screens projecting things all around. Now, this place can accommodate a lot more than 60 people. And you notice that you're all spaced out in a way where everyone here is seated like facing the screens, which are rotated in just one way. So everyone's kind of looking down at the same thing. You sit down, the doors close, and the sort of ambient lights above just sort of come down a little bit. And the room starts to get quiet. A minute goes by, 10:01, 10:05, 10:10. By 10:15, there's a consistent murmur around the room, and people are starting to question what's going on.
Just like in a real concert in real life.
Porter in particular, he's looking like a little concerned. He's looking around, and he turns to Silhouette and he goes, it's not normal for superheroes to be late, is it? I mean, should I be worried?
I mean, I don't really know how this stuff works. I don't know, but I'm really bored. Do you think they'll be here soon?
I mean, you never really know. And as he says this, there's this sound of like decompression as a beam of light enters the room. Just a crack. And you look up and you all see the domed ceiling of the auditorium is slowly pulling apart to reveal an open coliseum. And as this happens, sunlight streaming in, you really get a good look at the people around you. They're eager and often nervous faces, some kind of little cliques that have formed that are sitting together with the energy of knowing that they're probably not going to be sitting together for much longer. The screens go from black to a sort of blank, sort of a screensaver type screen. And from underneath, you feel this rumble in the ground as the platforms lift up one by one. And coming up to ground level down below are about 20 heroes, some of the greatest of this time. They range in age, in theme, in color scheme, in every way. These people are legends from around this world. And as they begin to take their places around the stage, you hear people sort of applauding as different ones that they recognize come into play. And then finally, in the very center, as the stage itself rises up, you see 6 figures, 6 of the Nexus of Valiance, Nova themselves, the most famous hero group ever to have lived. At least the current iteration of this group. The name carries over. You see Fulcrum, a sort of very round, very jolly looking woman with this very strappy, long leather coat, kind of domino mask as she's beaming, just looking up at the student, smiling. You see Diamond Soul with like long curly hair. She wears a domino mask as well, right? And
I've already forgot.
I think she wears a domino mask. She has this sort of crystalline diamond sort of structure, very fashionable, very glamorous, like white and blue color scheme. You see Dr. Quickstep, the famous inventor and speedster, standing with her arms crossed, her black leather jacket over her like red and yellow bodysuit that she wears, with these big goggles that she has, with 2 big tufts of curly hair just puffing out underneath the sort of helmet that she wears. Her feet just sort of idly tap with her kind of winged shoes that she wears as she looks just over, you know, she's smiling pleasantly, but very like still strangely serious. There's something always just kind of serious about Dr. Quickstep.
CD energy.
You see the mysterious, hooded, almost luchador-like in the style of his mask, with a hood over it, very like dark red and green and black color scheme of Cambio, who is standing very neutrally with his hands at his sides, just sort of open, passive, almost like he's not even reacting to what's happening. He's just watching the crowd. And it doesn't help that you can't really see much of his face at all. You see Prestige immediately start levitating up and like with arms out addressing the crowd. You see a man with a square jaw, a curly white mustache and pointed goatee. He has like mint blue skin with a white haired like pompadour and like magician's mustache, with this long billowing cape over a white billowy shirt with a necklace depicting an eyeball that he wears. And as he's like raining these showers of sparks over the other heroes, you see him just like flying around addressing everyone and grinning ear to ear. You see Quickstep just sort of like shake her head, but she half smiles.
He's like a sentient stick of magical 5-gum.
And finally, in his trademark black and purple, like form-fitting Kevlar-style armored form, with the just sort of rounded, skin-tight, helmet-like mask that he wears, with the cloth mask tied around, like Ninja Turtle style, billowing out the back in the breeze. You see 2 like dark black metal Eskrima sticks coming off of like shoulder mounts, or not shoulder mounts, they're mounted at his back, but they pop up, the handles pop up so he can grab them easily. And he's sort of standing roughly in the center of these 6 figures who are standing here. You see Tonatress, the only member of Nova who has no powers, who administered your last combat test that you had, and who is known for only picking the best of the best physical combat fighters. As all of these heroes gather, the screen lights up brighter, and you see a shadow approaching overhead. First, you all hear this distant, like rolling thunder. Then it gets louder, and then it stops abruptly. You all feel a gust of wind just rush down, not unpleasantly, but like something very fast just came in. And then you see her, just the shadow of her at first, a muscular outline with kind of billowing long hair over one shoulder, a red cape just floating, outlined in rays of sunlight. As she descends down onto the stage, you see the details come into view of a gray and black, very classical hero suit, billowing red cape, golden belt, and boots. A woman with like high cheekbones. She looks like maybe in her mid to late 40s. Her hair's shaved on one side and then like long and black and wavy on the other side. She has very dark tan skin. She looks like maybe Hawaiian descent. And she has this big smile as you see the cape, the clasps of her cape attach to her iconic symbol of a big angular red heart on her chest. And as she lands, you just hear cheers erupting. All of the other heroes are clapping as well. A podium rises to meet her with a microphone on it as she sort of looks around, waiting for the crowd to settle. This is Fortress, the most famous hero of this age, leader of Nova, and headmistress of the Moonlight Academy. Most notably, the only headmaster of this academy to ever get every current member of Nova as squad leaders at the academy. So it's kind of a big deal. They're all standing together now around her, and then all the other heroes are standing around. And then the members of Nova step back into the entire group so that everyone is sort of presented as equals. As the crowd begins to die down, Fortress raises a hand. You see her image, her face, is now being projected up on the big Jumbotron screens. She looks around, this big, warm smile that she has. Welcome, everyone. The champion class of 2430. It strikes you in particular that she says 2430 and not 430. Mm-hmm. You've all come a long way, shown incredible promise and skill. But the journey is only beginning. And what a journey it will be. I am proud of each and every one of you. And you should know, whoever you find your squad mates to be, whichever hero you find as your mentor, whatever journey these people take you on, remember that they will be a part of your lives, a part of the beginning, middle, and end of your journey. Ask yourselves now if you can commit yourself to this life, to making this world and all worlds, anything we may find out there, the better for it, for your actions. You start today. There's a very pregnant pause. No one gets up to leave. She smiles, and the smile fades a bit to a kind of a smaller, more serious smile. Good. Let's begin. As she begins to call each hero forward, starting with the 14 or so that are not members of Nova. She calls each of them forward by name. And that hero will then call between 3 and 5 names of students, and you'll hear cheers and reactions and applause. When you're called forward, you don't go down to, this is all stuff that you were briefed on before. This has been not rehearsed necessarily, but you've been told how this was going to work. You meet up with your squad leader and your squad mates after the fact. For the moment, you just listen to the announcements. You see the projections of the like squad names being put together on the screens, but you stay in your seat, just so that's clear. As she continues to speak, she gets through more and more of these heroes. She gets through all of the non-Nova members and their squads without saying any of your names or any of Echo, Link, or Porter's names. And as you get down to that last bit, just down to Nova, knowing what that means for you, you see Porter and Link and Echo kind of look at each other like, he looks, I would say, I don't know, which one of you, Silhouette or Hairomone, do you think has had a closer friendship with Porter in the last 2 weeks? Because I know we discussed a little bit that you guys maybe like continued hanging out with this group during this time. If you don't have a preference, I'll just choose. But.
Yeah, probably me.
I would say I guess I don't have a preference, but I would like to think that they are like friends, acquaintances, right before you get to friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just on that edge.
Okay.
That last step.
I'll have him look over to Silhouette then. And he goes, we're all going to be picked by Nova members.
I mean, like, we don't know that. Like, it could, like,
who else is this?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
You hear her begin to announce the members of Nova. She announces Combio's team, Prestige's team, Diamond Soul's team, and then Quickstep's team. Then she gets to Fulcrum. Fulcrum steps forward with her long, stylish, like leather strapped up coat. She has long hair. You can physically describe her better because you made her up.
So she is in real life terms, she looks to be Korean. She has long black hair that's straight, but at the tips it's a little waved out. And she's a heavyset woman who has like this long black trench coat. It's very strappy, and then like skin tight suit under it that's like, that's not true actually. I just remembered something. Her coat is like a deep magenta.
Mm-hmm.
And her we flipped it. Her undersuit is black with some purple. And she has black boots. And yeah, she just has the face of a friend, I guess.
Yeah, and she has a reputation too around here for being very motherly, very nurturing, and also for having a pretty dangerous power that puts her in a position to choose her students very carefully. She tends to choose students. I would say, BB, you're the only one who knows this because you've probably done research on who these guys tend to choose. You know that Fulcrum tends to choose people with very potentially dangerous powers that are not necessarily like combat based, but have different sort of support utility applications that can be molded to think outside the box, you know? And as she steps forward, she's just beaming, ear to ear grin. She says, my squad will be comprised of Porter, Link, and Echo.
I
grabs
imagine-
Porter and is like,
Okay.
BB mouths the names along with Fulcrum as she says them. Just expecting it.
Yeah. He looks at Link, and Link has this face of like, yeah, what did you think was going to happen? But Echo is like showing some uncharacteristic emotion, and she looks at Porter, and he's like, guess we get to stay together after all. She goes, dumbass. And they like kind of side fist bump.
Friendship. It's good. We stand.
Wow. We stand friendship.
The whole concept.
Looking around, you can see there are no other heroes left. Fortress doesn't choose a team for herself. Only Tonitrus is here. And as Tonitrus steps forward when his name is called, there's this hush.
are there more people left? Can we tell if there are more people left than just
You would have
Tonitrus
to be counting.
Just
You
like
you
keep
gather
trying to keep track, being like,
you gather that the reason that they don't have people come up onto stage is so people don't do that.
Right.
They're trying to keep it like,
Mhm.
Not biased in that way. But if you're keeping track of it, if that's something you've been doing this whole time, there is a handful that are still unaccounted for. You don't know them. And as Tonitrus steps forward, the crowd is just like instant respect. Everyone kind of sits up straighter. He speaks a name, then another, then another. The final name he utters is Helix. And then rather than a cheer, you just hear this like, there's this like kind of gasp and then applause, but it's like hesitant. Do any of you look over to see him, to like look for where Helix is sitting?
Yeah.
BB involuntarily kind of like stands up and then sits down really quick, and she's like, she has her fists on her knees, and she's pissed.
I think Hairomone and then just gets it together and looks towards Helix. But she does have a moment of and then gets over it.
Helix is just sitting slightly reclined. He's got his elbows on either of the arms of his chair, and he's like up like this. And he's just stone. He's really hard to read, but he's just sort of looking forward.
I love Helix.
Which of you
Yeah,
are
hot,
Yeah, his curly hair is just kind of in his face, and he's just sort of like,
oh yeah.
and when his name is called, he leans forward slightly. His eyes flickered sort of down and then back up, and he sits back again and sort of puts his interlaced fingers over his stomach and just
Power
nods,
Truly a power move.
sort of keeping his eye contact down toward Tonitrus. Which of you, if any, are trying to gauge what he might be thinking? Because he's not revealing much.
I don't
BB is
think
not looking at him.
think Hairomone cares.
Okay.
I'd
We
like
won't
to
worry
think
about it.
that-
Wait, what about Silhouette?
I would like to think that I'm looking at him the whole time. I'm just like,
At
because
Helix?
I would have never seen him until now.
Mhm.
So since everyone gasped, I'm assuming other people are looking in his direction too, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Everybody's looking at him.
I'm just
for a
kind of
moment.
waiting for I'm waiting for his yeah moment.
I'm going to have you go ahead and roll a willpower roll.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
Ooh,
this is the
first
first roll of
roll.
the game.
Wow.
So I'm going to describe a little bit how this works.
Okay.
So everybody has a certain number of points that they have allocated to each of their main stats. This, in particular, I've deemed is more of a willpower situation to try and gauge someone's vibe, maybe what they're feeling at the moment. So you're going to be rolling a number of d6s equal to your score in that. How many do you have?
I have 2.
2. So go ahead and roll those.
Okay. Okay, I got a 1, a 3.
Okay, so no successes.
Fail it. Yeah, no successes.
So the way that this works is we are not calculating total like sum of what you roll. It's just a success fail system. A 3 and under is a fail. A 4 and above is a success on each die. And a 6 counts for 2 successes. So at the moment, generally, this is not an opposed roll, so you're just rolling to see how many successes out of your total you'll get. The higher percentage of your pool of dice that you rolled come out as successes, the better you're going to be. So generally, you're going to succeed on like if half or more. And then from that point, it's like degrees of success, you know. There's not really any critical failing in this game unless you're in a really dire situation and like make some bad calls. But it's largely RP and decision based rather than number crunching, if that makes sense. So you're looking at him, and the only thing that you're really able to tell is that this guy must have some practice keeping his emotions to himself. As this is going on, you guys are kind of looking around. The applause dies down. Fortress is sort of leaning close to the mic. She's looking, excuse me. She's looking sort of past the crowd around, like she's looking at various doors. She covers the mic and she turns back and quick step forward to her. She's like this blur of lightning motion toward her, and they speak in hushed tones for a moment. As this is happening, is anyone else scanning the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just being like, bro, what? What is going on?
As you're looking around, because of the way that this is working and the sort of excitement of it, no one's really looking at you guys specifically.
Mm-hmm.
At least no students are.
Oh.
You see seated on the other side of the auditorium, angled in a way where he can still see you, making direct eye contact with the group, is Dr. Guest.
No.
A figure that you guys have only seen.
No!
A figure that you've seen only once. He's just watching this happen. You see a man in a form-fitted black sort of tuxedo over like a black turtleneck. He has long, straight black hair over just like white eyes.
I didn't know that.
He has like
That's
distinctive
pretty cool.
irises and pupils, but the color inside is white.
Oh, Lord.
And he's watching. He also kind of defies age, and he has the proportions of like a scarecrow. He's just this tall, skinny, bony man in a suit with long hair just watching, and he's just looking at you guys. As Fortress continues to look around, her eyes don't fall on him. It looks like she's looking for something else. As she leans toward the microphone, she says, congratulations to everyone. She doesn't stutter. She says, congratulations. Everyone will report to your squad leaders afterward. And in the middle of her speaking, you hear this sound, again, like almost like a cannon going off, of a fast impact, of like a sudden stop. All heads whip around to one of the doors behind where everyone is seated, the side that everyone is seated on. Light streams in just from that area. And you all see a figure standing there. For a moment, her form is like slightly vibrating before she like settles. And you can swear for a moment you can see like after images of her just around, and then they just settle into a solid
It's got
form of a
chills.
woman. She's sort of outlined in the light at the moment. She's looking around. Fortress looks right at her, and you can all see Fortress's face on the Jumbotron. She's concealing her emotions well, very well, but her face is just very stony. but her eyes flicker for just a second, and her face stays hard. This woman begins to walk down the aisle, just amongst you, past you, down toward the stage. And as you all look, you see, at first you think that she's another student. She looks like she couldn't be any older than like 30, 35. She has short black hair, like clipped all the way in the back, that gets kind of longer and choppy, like kind of choppy bangs that come down in front. And you see a tattoo on the back of her neck as she passes you of just 5 dots in the shape of a circle with a 6th in the center. She's not wearing a costume per se. And by per se, I mean she's not. She's basically wearing like running shoes, like sneakers, just like dark colored yoga pants, like athletic pants, and a black zip up hoodie. She just looks like she was like out working out or something. She's not particularly tall, but as she walks down the aisle, she carries herself with this like back straight, shoulders apart energy. And she's kind of like making eye contact with students, and her eyes pass over you guys, and they hold there for a little bit. And you're struck by just like the ethereal, almost elven beauty of this woman. And I think for BB only, there's a hint of recollection in her face, but you can't pin it. You're searching your mind for your superhero history, and there's something there, but you're not sure. Her hair also, that short, choppy pixie cut that she has, you see in the light that her hair is so dark blue that it looks black. But as the light catches it, it reflects kind of blue tones. She walks down the aisle, and as she gets closer to the stage, Fortress remains in this hard position. The woman stands at the edge of the stage and looks up at Fortress. Fortress stands at the edge of the stage for a moment, looking down with hard eyes, before she erupts into a smile and a laugh. She reaches down with a huge beefy arm and pulls this lady up in like a sort of a way. As she pulls her up, the two of them hug very tightly. When they pull apart, you see Fortress say something to her, but you don't hear it. The rest of the heroes are like kind of gently applauding, just sort of waiting to see what is going to happen here. Fortress walks back to the podium with this woman standing next to her. And as she approaches the mic again, she says, "We have one final squad leader to announce. It is my great honor to reintroduce to the Moonlight Academy a cherished alumnus, an honored hero in her own right. Our final squad, Bang Bang, Silhouette, and Hairomone, will be assigned to you." And she looks at this woman who is not, like, her smile kind of fades, and she just looks kind of like almost not sarcastic, but like questioning. She's like just observing what's happening. Her posture is very like slumped now, but she's still somehow commanding. But she looks so strange, standing here in yoga pants and a hoodie next to all of these brightly colored heroes. As Fortress says, "Welcome back to Moonlight Academy. Pantheon." As soon as the name is spoken, there's just this like, and like there's applause, but everyone just starts like, "Is that really her?" And I'm gonna say BB, you probably have heard the name.
Mm-hmm.
Well before your time.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well before your time. Which is
Like-
strange.
Okay.
Because this is a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Porter leans into you. And he's like, is that really Pantheon?
I have no idea.
She's one of the most famous heroes who ever lived.
Yeah, could you remind the class what her power is?
Well,
She's
it's
old, right? She's like really old.
he starts doing like counting on his fingers, and Link just immediately cuts him off. And they're like, well, according to public record, she's over 100 years old, maybe even 150.
Well, I mean, she looks great.
Echo is just like awestruck, and she's like, nobody has heard from her in like 25 years. I thought she was dead. You know what this... I mean, you know who she is, right? She's the hero who trained Fortress.
What?
Huh.
Mm, are we sure it's the same woman?
I'm still not hearing any power as well. What was that shimmery after image thing she did when she came in?
As you're speaking, just the roar of applause overtakes you, and you can no longer hear yourself speak. There was just sort of a buzzing in the background as you guys were talking, as you guys were no longer paying attention to the closing remarks. And everyone starts getting up to leave and being like directed out. And as you guys are sort of shepherded to get up, Porter looks at you guys and he goes, you better not waste any time. We have to meet our mentors out on the quad. Congratulations, I guess. I can't wait to see more of you guys.
Yeah. See you around, I guess.
You guys are going to do great. Come on. This is a great day. Come on, guys. Let's leave him to it.
BB's broken off really quick. Can she see Helix in the crowd?
You have to find him, but you can seek him out. There is like a crowd of people around him, and you see a group of other students are starting to sort of approach him. I don't think you're going to be able to get to him until you get outside, unless you say otherwise that you're specifically trying to catch him.
Through?
Yeah, you can push through. Go ahead and make either a strength or a... No, you're pushing through the crowd. It's going to be a strength.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say you can maybe make an agility if you're trying to like weasel through the crowd. It's not that dense. It's only 60 people, so you could probably weasel through with agility.
Successes.
2 successes out of
3.
Out of 3? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you're able to kind of finagle your way through, and you get up to him. As he gets up, he's made his way sort of out of the row where he was sitting, and you see a few other students are approaching him, other members of Tonatrus's team. I'm going to say, because you have designed one of them, go ahead and, if you're willing to, yeah, you can go ahead and describe just one of them for now.
Okay, just one.
Yeah,
okay.
just pick one of them.
You see a lady with like Merida hair, but shaved, so it's only on one side, and like flopped over, in like a very 80s up top, like punk down below sort of outfit, like a black tank top with off the shoulder like flowy 80s like esque shirt silhouette type of thing. And then the bottom is ripped up jeans and combat boots, like a clash of aesthetics. And she has like a very severe looking face. Like her eyes are naturally just kind of like meh. And she has freckles all over, on her shoulders, on her face, on her chest, on her arms.
I'm in love with her in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see she's sort of hanging back, walking a few paces behind Helix, but hasn't moved to speak to him yet.
BB's not really like slowly approaching. She's like fast walking towards them.
Okay.
With purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just sort of walking toward the door, and as you approach him, you see him just sort of like look over one shoulder, and he stops.
She goes up to, like right up to him, and I imagine, how tall is he? What do you say?
Helix?
Yeah.
I'd say he's like 6 foot even.
Okay, so she's just a little bit under him. But she comes up and she pokes him in the chest and she says, I won't say that you don't deserve to be on Tonitriss's team. She says that clearly without a stutter. I won't say that you don't deserve to be on Tonitriss's team, but I deserve to be there as well. And then she just walks away.
Damn. Oh.
You don't hear him respond. You make your way outside. You see there's just a mass of students who are making their way to the central quad. And as this is happening, you see that there are other students from all over campus. Not all of them are necessarily superpowered students either. There are other students. This is basically a standard university as well, with a superhero program that is an accepting place for everyone to work together, really. And you see, like, it feels like a large percentage of the school has gathered on the lawns here to watch you guys and applaud as the heroes step out and lead the entire group down, like, toward the quad in this area of the hero side of campus. And you are on the hero side of campus. The champion element, the champion area, basically, is like a series of different stadiums and training yards and things like that, rather than necessarily buildings. And there are sort of like mock cities, and it's such a strange environment here to be in. It's like a giant futuristic training playground with different environments that are ready-made, with this huge coliseum right in between. You're being led to almost like a town square sort of an environment, with this big statue of Moonrider standing over, but not in that neutral, like, kind of holding up, straining position of holding up the Coliseum, but rather just a stone statue of him with his arms kind of slightly outstretched and open. But before we get to that, you can see that in the distance. The quad is not that far from here. It's kind of strategically positioned. As you step out, you hear a voice in your ear, specifically in your right side, that says, "Psst."
Is this all of us?
Just you. Right as you walk out the front door.
If you have something to say to me, I mean, face-to-face also works.
To your right, cowgirl. And the voice fades out.
I look over to my right, then.
You look over to your right and you don't see anyone. I mean, people are filtering out. You look around. You look up. One of the statues, the gold statues you hadn't noticed before, standing just to the right of Moonrider, is this classic hero getup, long flowing cape with boots. You see that same symbol that was tattooed on Pantheon's on the back of Pantheon's neck. You see a larger, more symbolic display of that on this statue's chest. You see her holding up a huge part of this coliseum, like the support structure of it. The hair is a little bit longer, more shoulder length, kind of choppy and falls everywhere, but the face underneath you recognize, and it is Pantheon. It is the same woman.
Maybe we'll say to Echo, yeah, that's great and all, but where's she been?
You hear no response. Do you guys convene with BB immediately, or do you wait until you get to the quad?
I
Probably wait for me.
I think I've already been near BB, like, while we've been seated. So
Like
I
if
assume I'd still be with.
yeah, BB goes off for that quick detour, but
Mhm.
like I just keep walking.
Okay.
Yeah. Like we were walking and then she left and I just kept going.
So are you guys walking together?
Yes.
Okay.
In Hairomone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
As you all follow the river of champions now, all of these students who are breaking off into their groups, you get to the quad. It is as described, but it is massive. It is more like a town hall, and you can see that you're in one of those sort of makeshift cities. Looking around, you can spot that there are very cleverly hidden panels and like just creases where you think things might slide away for training purposes all around this place. It's wild how this place is so subtly designed as a training ground and a makeshift city to save, But you come into this much quainter area, and there are all of these different restaurants and stores and things that are around, with this central seating area with tables and benches and umbrellas all sort of spiraling around this central statue of the Moonrider.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
As you guys get here, as you were walking here, you guys could hear of Fortress flying off.
There she go.
But the rest of the heroes were sort of leading the group this way. As you see everyone breaking off, you see different teams starting to emerge. And we will explore the compositions of those teams later down the line. But if there's somebody specific that you guys are kind of looking out for that you want a description of, just let me know before we move on, and we can say, like, if you guys are, I think it's a fun character detail if your guys' attention is drawn to a specific group or a specific heroes group that caught your attention during the description.
Just out of my own curiosity, since I came up with her powers, is Matryoshka around?
Yeah, I believe she is standing with Combio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What does she look like?
she's on Combio's team. You can describe her? I think you should describe her because she's yours.
Oh gosh, she's Russian.
That's something I think we should. This is the second time ish that we've done this so far, but I want to make it clear. Part of the collaborative world building aspect of this game that I'm really wanting to lean into is I really want the entire group to populate the school. So there are going to be like other squad members and other people. Like I've created NPCs that are key, like Helix, for example, who are, other students, or the three, Porter, Link, and Echo, that you guys have met. Those are all ones that I've made. But I have encouraged all of these guys to be like working on making other heroes and other students that we might encounter down the line as we do missions and like hang out at the school and stuff. So when we have those opportunities to point them out and see them and stuff, I think it's fun to have you guys describe the characters that you've come up with.
Okay, I'm ready. Matryoshka, I forget her real name, but that doesn't matter right now. She is about let's say 5'5". She's already pretty short. And she has blonde, like shoulder length hair that kind of like is very flowy and swoops down this way. She's just very well manicured overall. Her eyebrows are like perfect, like so good. She has a kind of button nose. She perpetually seems to be smiling, yet has no like smile lines, but has dimples. I don't know what smile lines are. A little bit of blush on her cheeks. Is there anything else? Oh, green eyes. And that's about it.
Cool.
That's as much as I can verbalize.
Actually, thinking back, I misspoke. She's not on Combio's team. You see her standing next to another student who is wearing this long black sort of purposefully tattered looking sleeveless cardigan type thing with like black combat boots, olive skin, hazel eyes with dark brown curly hair that cascades out of this kind of pointed back drooping black hood that he wears. He's kind of keeping to the shadows. His nails are all painted black and he's got like wristbands on and stuff. You see her just chatting away in the direction of this guy who's just like dissociating like away from her as she speaks. And both of them are standing in front of the blue-skinned figure of Prestige.
That's what I thought. They're the hot team.
Yeah, they are Prestige people for sure.
Is there a third and fourth person on that squad, or is
not at the moment. There are, but
okay.
You don't see them.
Gotcha.
They're the first who have convened. And you guys are looking around for I assume you guys are looking for Pantheon, but you can tell me otherwise if you're looking for each other first. It's up to you guys where you go.
I mean, Silhouette and I are walking together.
You guys are walking together.
Bibi was walking with us.
I'd probably try to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So you catch up, and what is Bibi's outward vibe when she catches up to the other two?
Displeasure.
Is she clearly unhappy?
Displeasure. It's not. I think she's confused with the general emotion going more towards anger or displeasure.
Just like the how could this be sort of energy.
This is very clearly like an honor, but like who is this hero? Why are they suddenly showing up? Why is it us? Yeah, etc. There's a lot of questions.
As you said, Bibi catches up with us.
Yeah.
As Bibi catches up with Hairomone and I'm like, and then there were 3.
Bibi doesn't really say anything.
Haromone's like, yeah, that's math.
Yep.
That's the extent that you guys discussed the situation on your way there. You're just kind of going with it.
You know, what is there to discuss, really? We don't know anything.
Bibi, do you guys know anything about this hero besides her being excruciatingly old?
I imagine that I did some basic history before coming to First City, so I might know a little bit. But...
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have everyone roll an intelligence roll, and whoever rolls the highest number of successes is going to have a tidbit of information. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bibi has a 1 in intelligence,
Ooh.
yet I rolled a 6, so she got a 2.
So you got 2.
No!
Okay.
I don't know shit about things. I got 2 2s.
Okay, no successes
No
there.
successes.
I have 1 success.
So it's Bibi, which makes sense. I mean, this is your whole life. As you think back, you try to remember stories that your parents told you about Pantheon, because she's been inactive your entire life, longer than you've been alive, you know?
She's running her hand through her hair trying to remember, as they're walking.
The name does stick. It keeps ringing a bell. And on 2 successes out of a possible 1, I actually think you get like a good piece of information. I like to think that when you guys roll more successes than dice, that's kind of a critical success in a way, and you guys learn something particularly interesting or succeed with a certain flair, you know? You think back and you remember this one story in particular, and you know she was probably the fortress figure before Fortress was the fortress figure, you know? You don't remember in your research about her training Fortress at the academy, but you do remember that there was some sort of really epic, like world-shaking battle, something that the entire first city and the infrastructure of Alma, which is the allied mainframe, the coalition of the different governments of the places that spread out from First City that wanted to remain organized and like stay in touch. Basically, when people moved out, that's the name of that government system. It's Alma. Something that was threatening to the entire like Alma foundation. Some big villain or something was trying to take people down. You can't remember the details of it, but you swear it's there somewhere. But in that battle, Pantheon was thought to have died.
Recall my father telling me about some big battle that happened way before any of us were born, like something that threatened all of First City and Alma. But I can't remember for the life of me what it was. But I do think that Pantheon was supposed to have died. And yet here we are.
Yeah, she essentially died saving First City is what you remember. Yeah. And that would have been, you're kind of doing the math in your head, and that would have been before, like, when Fortress was kind of coming up, before Fortress had been a really big name hero. So the timing would line up if you're kind of guesstimating Fortress's age right. Mm-hmm. But yeah. On the subject of power set, which seems to be something you're trying to focus on.
Yeah.
You know that it has something to do with like godlike strength and speed. It's something to that ability. Something to that effect.
She's got a super something, some strength or speed or one of those. I don't remember. I guess we're about to find out anyway.
So as you approach the quad, you're looking around, you're looking for Pantheon. And you eventually find her at the very center of the quad, sitting on the statue of Moonrider is standing there with his motorcycle. She's sitting on the motorcycle. And she's eating what looks like maybe like a peanut butter sandwich or something. And she's got her legs crossed. She's sitting there just sort of Do you guys approach her? You spot her before you go up to her.
I thought that we were already walked up to her and we all just stood there.
I wanted to see like who was going to approach.
I will.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just all together.
All together.
Mm-hmm.
One
you walk
for
up.
all.
Yeah.
She looks up at you guys, and she like shoves the last corner in her mouth. Hi.
Hey.
Hairomone.
Hello.
Silhouette.
Yeah.
Bang bang. Oh,
howdy.
That's good. That's it's good to meet you. I am Pantheon, or so they tell me. Do you guys have a plan for the day? I mean, is there something you wanted to ask me, or I imagine you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with why are you here? What are your powers? How are you not dead? And why us?
I mean, I think that kind of covers it.
Thank you.
Hairomone just sort of like, just is like, annoyed.
She kind of wipes the crumbs off of her hands and goes, huh, yeah. All good points. And she hops down off the motorcycle, thus blurring the camera for a moment, apparently. She hops down off the motorcycle, and she steps...
on the motorcycle, that's so cool.
steps right up to you. How tall are you again?
5'10".
5'10"? She's a little shorter than you. And she looks up at you. She goes, I'm here because Fortress asked me to be here. I am your squad leader because I was assigned to you. I'm not dead because I didn't die. And whoever told you that was vastly misinformed. What were the other questions? Oh, my powers. Right. That you'll find out.
I really feel like we learned a lot here today. Cool.
Oh my god.
As you like look away from her for a second. Well, who did you say that to?
The sky.
The sky?
Yeah.
You look up toward the sky as you say that, and you feel like a tap on your shoulder. Firstly, you hear this like sound. Just this very slight like sound. The rest of you who are looking at Pantheon, you guys just see a blur of motion, almost like when Quickstep moves, but that blur of motion, that secondary figure of her that moves around to the backside of BB at blinding speed is not her. It is, but this figure is a copy of her that comes out of her body. As Pantheon stays standing where she was, you feel the tap on your shoulder and you look and you see an identical figure in every way with no distinctive differences standing behind you. She just goes, boo. She pushes you with 2 fingers on your collarbone and you stagger back into the other figure of her. And she just catches you and props you back up. Oh, here you go. Sorry. You now see 2 of her standing there.
How many times can you do that?
She crosses her arms. Why is it so important to you?
Target practice.
Oh.
And she smiles. It's clearly a joke.
It's going to be interesting. So, she looks to Hairomone. I hear you have some, shall we say, influential powers?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Technically, I guess. I can make people just sort of stop. And then I hit them really hard with my stick.
And I hear you have a certain proficiency with things of a mechanical nature. You know, on top of the not being able to be seen, which is useful.
Yeah, I do that thing. Technology's amazing. They're all, and she like kind of like starts patting her legs. She's like, I'm stacked.
All right. She kind of rubs her hands together. She pulls her sleeve back and she looks at her watch. Looks up at the sky. All right. Look, I'm going to level with you. That sandwich was not very filling. I'm starving. You guys want food? You guys hungry? I'm buying.
Sure.
She spins on her heel and just starts walking toward the food court.
Oh. I start like jogging up to catch up to her.
All the same.
She is walking with some purpose, for sure.
Wait, you didn't ask me what I can do.
She looks over, not quite at you, just slightly over her shoulder as she walks. Target practice, right? Keep up.
Oh.
So you guys enter the food court area, which is very much like a food court in a mall, but the energy in here today is just wild. There is
Feral.
like there is just buzz everywhere, and a lot of people know the names of the students who were chosen, and are starting to get word of who. And as you pass by different tables, you hear people discussing like, oh, did you hear that Teatro got put on Prestigious team? I thought for sure they were going to stick him with Combio. That guy's a freak.
That's mean. Y'all, this ain't high school. Calm
But
down.
it is.
It's his superhero college.
Yeah.
As you guys continue walking, Pantheon gets in line for a second. She looks at how slow it's moving. And she just like looks around. And she's like, you see her just, and this time it's just her. She reabsorbed the other one of her back into herself already, and she just blurs in a motion of speed toward the front of the line, turns her head to the student who is like at the front in the middle of paying, and she's like, sorry, do you mind? And she looks at the person at the counter and she goes, can I just get whatever is the biggest? It's anything. I got his too. And she puts money on the table for the person that she cut in line.
Aww.
Wow, I love my mom.
And
We stand our mom.
she looks back and she goes, whatever they're having.
What are the options?
It's a food court. You can get whatever.
Sandwich.
Protein.
Okay.
And maybe a salad.
I was also gonna say sandwich, so I'll go noodles.
Wait, you can have sandwich and I could have chili, because cowboys eat chili.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Is
Okay.
this something where we would just grab the food?
No, they go and they get it for you, and it's kind of a Panda Express situation.
Okay.
Like it's there in front of you, but they're the ones putting it in the boxes, and they hand it to Pantheon, and she holds the tray of all the food. And as you guys have been standing here, you're kind of hearing some of the gossip, and you see a lot of the students are like looking at her, and they whisper. She walks with the tray of food, which is quite sizable for all of you. She walks over to a table. She sits down, and she puts the food just in front of her. And she crosses her arms, and she leans back. She waits for you guys to sit.
Oh, I sit.
I'll sit.
Okay. Here's how this is going to work. Day 1, lesson 1. You guys can have your free lunch. Well, not exactly free, but it's going to cost you information. I want to know one useful thing that you've heard today. Just since you've been in here.
Been at the school or been at this what do we call this? Like a
The
meeting?
court, cafeteria.
Cafeteria or in the coliseum. There are a lot of places that we've been.
She just kind of like raises her eyebrows. But she doesn't respond. She's just...
I mean,
No, you go ahead.
I didn't really hear it so much as saw it, that Helix didn't really give Phoebe the time of day. So at least we know he's cool.
Well, you stole my thing I learned as well, because what I generally learned was that he seems fairly well respected or feared. Pick one of two.
She gives you your food. Just BB specifically. Not bad.
I didn't know. I didn't know about all the things that you do. So my new information has been meeting you.
Flattering, not altogether useful. I'm going to give you your food anyway because I'm a nice person. Lesson 2. There are nice people. I know it doesn't sound like much of a lesson, but it's easy to forget. She looks over her shoulder, and she looks at the group of people that were kind of talking shit about Teatro. And as they're talking, you see that figure that you saw before with, how did you pronounce it? It's not Matryoshka, it's Matryoshka. Yeah. You see the figure that she was talking at, the one like dressed all in black with the bracelets and like the sunken looking eyes. And as he walks by, you see that group just sort of like giggle at him. He shoots them this glare for a moment as he gets closer. She goes, "Tell me, what's that boy about to do? / is it going to be a good idea?"
He's gonna use his powers to start a fight. That's my guess.
All right, well, that's your guess.
Or he'll just let it go.
She looks back. You see Teatro's fist clench, kind of Arthur style, for a second. You see his shadow that's cast out behind him. You swear for a moment that it starts to steam a little bit, almost like it's trying to come up into the three-dimensional world. But just like an inch off the ground, it sinks back. He unclenches his hand, and he keeps walking. And he sits down at a table by himself and just kind of starts drinking a sports drink of some kind. And Pantheon looks back at you and she goes, "So you're ready to assume the worst in people. Is that a good instinct or a bad one?" "I don't know. You tell me. Honestly, it could go either way, depending on the situation, depending on the day. This particular day, things went well. On another day, that group might not have been so lucky. If it had been you instead of him, almost certainly." She's addressing BB directly. I have to keep track of my eye line here because we're, yeah. She just kind of sighs heavily and just starts eating this just like huge burger that she has. She's like, "Look, all right. Real training starts tomorrow. Meet me at, I don't know, call it 10 a.m. Superheroes like 10 a.m. in this place, apparently. We'll hit, let me think. Okay, yeah. Let's hit 12th Street. Meet me there at 10. We'll see if any of my assumptions about you are right." She stands up, brings her food with her. She looks over to like the fries on the plate. She just like takes a few of them and walks off, leaving you guys alone at the table.
She took some of my fries.
Did she ever push my food in front of me?
Yeah, she put when she said,
Okay.
I'm going to give you your food anyway, she gave everyone your food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Hairomone would have just not eaten the food if it had stayed there. But yeah, we're good.
Yep. So she's just walking away now. You guys are alone at the table.
Well, I guess we're going to be working together.
I mean,
Yay.
it could be a cool thing, right? We can make it a cool thing, I guess.
We could make team only bracelets. I can make a team only scent so we could all smell the same.
That would certainly help in coordination. What do y'all think of Pantheon?
I mean, she was like hanging out around like the Moonrider statue, which I thought was kind of cool.
I mean, she's not so different from my team leader back home. Maybe a little more manic, just by a little bit. Well, I have a hunting team, and we have a team leader.
Well, this isn't what I expected, but I guess it's what we got.
You sound ever so enthused.
I don't know how I feel. But I guess I know how to work with you guys already because we did that training mission, so let's do our best.
Yay.
At this moment, you guys hear, "Hey, freeze, think fast." You look over and you see this very surly looking student wearing like a tank top, got like big spiked up hair. He stands up at his table and you see that he claps his hands together and he pulls apart this like ball of what looks almost like he's molding like liquid rubber and solidifying it in his hands. As he pulls it out, he crunches it together into a ball and he pulls it back and he hucks it across. As he throws it, you see another student who is like in line to get their food, who is standing under this big sign for the restaurant that you guys have been standing in front of. The ball is like about to bean him in the side of the head, and he sees it. He goes, and like in a reactionary way, he pulls back, and this sort of ice wall just above him. A couple students have to like jump out of the way as the ball just cracks into this brittle ice and bounces hard. It seems like whatever this material is that was thrown is some sort of like very dense, very like bounceable material, and it clangs with this like bunch of shards of ice into one of the support structures keeping the like LED sign up, and it comes crashing down a little bit, and it looks like it's about to fall on a group of students who are waiting in line. You guys are the closest table to it. You see other people kind of getting up, but it's this strange, almost slow motion kind of moment where people are trying to figure out what to do, who's going to be able to react fast enough.
How thick is the sign? If I stabbed it, would it go through all the way?
It depends on where you stabbed it.
Okay.
I think.
I'm gonna
there would
try
be thinner
to
parts.
stab it in the optimal place for stabbing, and like hold it up with my spear staff thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll a dexterity.
Okay.
How many people are standing under it?
About 5.
BB will try to tackle as many of them as she can out of the way.
Now, does
Okay.
this count as melee weaponry?
Yes.
Okay. I have a specialty which allows me to re-roll all failures, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Having
Would
a
I-
specialty and a skill means you can re-roll all of your failures once.
You know, they didn't help me.
What'd you
What-
get?
0. Nothing.
no!
No.
I guess I'm getting crushed.
Hairomone jumps forward to try and stab this sign in place, but they just kind of end up tackling it and spearing into it, but it's not enough to break it, and now your weight is like riding this thing down. But I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll agility. Yeah, probably agility or dexterity.
Yeah. 2 successes out of 3.
Okay, so 2 successes as you see Hairomone try to stab this thing through, but you manage to tackle one of the students out of the way who was just about to fall and like drop all of their food like all over and make everyone slip and fall and not be able to get out of the way. You push this guy out of the way and everybody else scatters. And as Hairomone comes down on top of this thing, you're not going to take any damage, but it just like kind of shatters under you. You see everybody sort of scattering. Silhouette, are you doing anything, or are you
I was
getting
gonna
involved
say,
in it?
Yeah, I was gonna say instead of tackling anyone, I was gonna grab them like out of the way.
Okay.
Like grab whatever arms I could and like pull them to the side. Like, with
Yeah,
my
go ahead and
hands.
make strength or dexterity, whatever feels right to you.
Okay. I'm gonna do dexterity.
Okay.
I have, what is it? Over 4, right?
Mhm.
I have 3 out of 3.
Nice. So that's a full success. So BB manages to get one of these people out of the way, but as you reach over to pull the rest of the people aside fast enough, you see that they were probably still going to at least get a little bit crunched or knocked on the head. You pull the last couple of people aside. The sign comes down with Hairomone on top of it. Hairomone, you look up and you see the kind of silent crowd looking around. And then people start to applaud a little bit, like, hey, you see the people who are working the counter at this place. They come around and they start checking people to make sure that they're okay. And as you guys are sort of trying to regroup for a second, you look over. Something draws your attention to the opposite side of the room. Just sort of standing, leaning against a pillar, with his fingers laced together, is Dr. Guest, that same figure from before, scarecrow-like, black suit, just watching with these piercing neutral eyes. As he watches this happen, there's a moment of like sustained eye contact, and then he just turns and walks out.
I go up to the guy who threw the thing.
Yes.
Sorry.
Didn't your parents ever tell you not to play ball inside?
Yeah.
I
like,
mean,
shout from like across the
Totally. Loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. Whose team are you on?
I'm not in the program yet.
Interesting. Should we go?
I
Are we
kinda
done
like-
here?
I'm like sweating. There's just Joe is just a little sweaty. She like
Perpetual state.
yeah. She kind of like helps whoever's like fallen up, and then takes her sandwich out of her pocket,
I'll,
continues eating, and is like, "Yeah, I'm done for today. I'm good. Let's, yeah."
As you do this, sorry.
I'll follow Hairomone out, and as I walk past the guy who threw the ball, I'll put my finger to a finger gun, and then point it at the ground in between his feet, and go bang, and a little gold plasma bolt,
Mhm.
however you want to describe it, comes out and just burns a hole in the ground right between his feet. And she doesn't even look at it as she does it. She just keeps walking.
As you guys are walking out, you see Dr. Guest sort of continuing to walk in the opposite direction. The student you now know is named Teatro, the one all in black with the curly hair. He's sort of passing you guys by as he exits as well. He watches you do that and he chuckles. Yeah, that was not bad work.
Yeah, well, it looks like I have less self-control than you, so.
He looks over to Dr. Guest, or where Dr. Guest had just been, and he's gone. He looks back at you, and you guys have caught up by now, right? And he's addressing all of you guys, and he goes, "You are the team that is with Pantheon."
You'd be correct.
Yeah, seems so.
Interesting. I would then categorize you as people who are perhaps a bit unorthodox. Tell me, how much do you know of that man?
You mean the guy?
The Dr. Guest.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't really place a finger on what he's all about.
Well,
I don't really know him from Adam, so.
I've heard the stories that the other people tell around school, and no one really knows what he does. He has no squad of his own, and I've been doing some research of my own, and I have found that, suspiciously, he always seems to be around when disasters happen. It's something to think about. And he just sort of like looks around very suspiciously and then sinks into the shadows and just disappears.
Oh, that's why he's on Prestige's team. Makes sense now.
As you're left standing here on the quad, sort of under the shadow of the statue of the first hero, Moonrider's eyes watching you, watching over everything, you contemplate the possibilities of what's to come, what it means that you've been placed on this team, what your future holds. You look back toward the area where Dr. Guest had been standing, and you just feel this cold chill, almost deja vu-like after image of a sensation in your mind. That similar feeling that you get when you know someone was just looking at you. And that's where we're going to call it.
Ooh.
I don't like it. Nasty boy.
Yeah,
Orochimaru looking ass.
that fake out when we thought that Dr. Guest was going to be our team leader
Yeah.
was, that got me going. And then,
Oh, no.
That his appearance foreshadows trauma, and that he showed up when we got selected. Whoo!
Thank you guys for joining me. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you all had fun at home. Yeah, man. Tune in next time for this incredible group of people and their sweater-wearing mentor.
Yeah.
Oh, should we do... yeah, so you can find me anywhere pretty much at Frostyverse. Generally, Instagram would be the place to look for me.
You can find me at Warden Asteria on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, I think that's it.
Mhm.
Unless I'm forgetting something, which is possible.
You can find me at Schwan Lake on both Twitter and Instagram. And then I make music under the name Pragmatist. And I have a a band project that's coming out soon called Friendly Neighborhood Watch. So keep your eyes out for that.
Yeah.
And you can find me right here.
Hell yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hope you stay tuned for next time. Keep it super.
Adios.
Bye.